Hey everyone, welcome to RUNONG. We've got episode 9 and we got a special guest. He's a good friend of mine. Known him for quite some time and well, you guys know him. He's quite popular in the Philippines, professional PBA player, plays for Rain or Shine Elasto Painters, also known as Mr. President. Welcome, Gabe Norwood.
Thanks, man. Good to
What's
see you,
up,
Warren.
bro? What's up,
I
bro?
don't know if Mr. President has aged too well for me.
I man,
His
actually, I wanted to ask, isn't that is that racist, bro? I mean, like that nickname. I mean, I'm assuming. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming it has everything to do with Obama.
yeah, 100%. But the crazy thing is, I actually heard it before I came out here. Obama actually came and spoke at George Mason University, and he was up there speaking. Some of our teammates were all there listening to him speak, and they were like, "Oh, kind of look like a." And actually, it was a joke, just teammates being teammates. But I didn't know
So
it
it
was going to
started
carry on.
there. So
Yeah,
since it
nobody. I
started
don't think.
there, it's fine.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know it was going to follow me here, but I don't even remember where it started because
Yeah.
it was a while where I didn't have a nickname for a while.
Well, I was of course researching a bit about you, and when you were a kid, you were called Little Magic.
Yeah, man, you do. That's some serious research right there. I think that's
How old were
intense.
you then? How old were you when you got called Little Magic?
I couldn't have been more than like 7 years old. That was like my first kind of sports nickname.
Yeah.
I was living in Tucson, Arizona. My dad, it was his first coaching job in college football. But yeah, little YMCA league, little kid youth league. And I don't know. I picked up the nickname Little Magic. I like to go out there and make plays. So I guess that one that's some research,
So,
bro. I haven't heard that one in a
so,
while.
so I guess it also is a good reflection of how old you are.
Yeah,
Pretty
for
much.
sure. For sure. Yeah, this wasn't like retirement magic. This was like prime magic, I think. It's coming off a couple
Well,
rings.
I can't really like rib you off with that because I'm older than you a bit, so it won't age well for me. This is a path or a conversation that's not gonna go well. But yeah,
I was
little
about to
magic,
say you
bro.
finally admitted it, man. You usually throw me under the bus on that one.
Actually, man, I one thing that I really wanted to bring up during
Yeah.
this chat of ours is, did you know that you changed my life, bro? Like,
In a good way?
yeah,
For the
man. Like
better?
literally, you changed my life.
Man,
You wanna know why and how?
go for it, bro. I don't know where this is
2013,
going, but I'm on.
2013, bro.
Yeah.
2013, you sent me a text. Are you gonna watch Braun?
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit. Like until now, I'm getting goosebumps, bro. Cause like, essentially, you gave me a ticket,
Yep.
a front row seat to watch LeBron James here in the Philippines,
That was
and I am a full Braun sexual. Um, he's my soulmate. He's the love of my life.
he just
Uh,
doesn't know it
he doesn't know
yet.
yet, and you just text me out of the blue, man. I saved that text, like that's the screenshot of that text, bro. It was like around July, I think, June or July, in
Yeah, I think right
2013,
around
and I couldn't contain myself, man.
there.
It's like no, like really, man. And actually, I didn't know that it was that close.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess I didn't tell you
No,
where the
no.
were.
So I was like, the fact that I'm just going, like, yeah, man. Then when I got there, I was like, LeBron is about what, 10 meters away?
Yeah.
Less than that, actually. Like I could see his cuts. Like, yeah, man. Like full bronze sexual mode right there, man. Like, it's like, oh my god, it's LeBron James.
Bro, I saw you having flashbacks in your head as
Bro.
you're telling the story.
Like the entire time, I was like, I was numb, man. I mean, like like the
Yeah.
emotions. So
No, I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty awesome event altogether, from the music to the crowd
yeah, it was it
to
was it was Nick's Dampy, right?
yep,
Who
yep,
who opened it?
Stampede.
Yeah. So the mood was really really good,
Yeah.
right? Then the smoke I remember that, like the smoke machine, and he was like just dancing there. I was like, damn, like Bob and like LeBron, LeBron,
You're here.
you're here.
Oh man, no, I had to look out for you, man. I've known since the day we met how much of a Braun fan you were. And I had to look out. I had the extra ticket, and I had to think who would definitely maximize this experience the most.
Thank you. So yes,
Yeah,
you changed my life. So it was the only time that I've seen LeBron. So there's no repeat of that. I still remember. I remember the alley oop to him. I remember he missed the layup
yeah.
to win the game. So in typical LeBron fashion, sorry, I'm kidding. But but yeah,
Good
man. I took a
memories.
picture of you, but it was so bad because it was like you're back. I mean,
You did send it to me after. I
yeah,
remember you sent it to
yeah.
me right after the
Like, I'm sorry.
game.
I'm
I was like,
sorry.
oh, thanks.
So yeah, I mean, people who are close to me know how much I love LeBron.
Yeah.
So to have that opportunity to be that close to him, to watch him, really, really changed my life, man. You know
That's all.
how big I am a fan of that. So thank you, thank you.
Happy to
So,
play my part, bro. Happy to play my part.
but I still can't cheer for the Lakers, man.
Can't do it.
Can't. I just can't, man.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
respect royalties. I respect it.
it's just that like Kobe fans have been egging me like half my life, bro. And they've been bashing LeBron so bad. Like my brother is like did it every day, man,
Yeah.
because he's a big Kobe Laker fan. And then one day he moves to the Lakers, and all of a sudden he's like the greatest player in the world, man.
Hey,
I can't.
the Brown effect, man.
A lot of my friends who are now Laker fans, of course, they followed LeBron, right?
Yeah.
So it's been what 3 years now, 3 4 years. Like, hey man, we're waiting for you. I'm like,
Come on over.
no. But I watch the games. I have
Yeah.
to admit, I still watch Laker games, even though I'm not. I don't admit that I'm a Laker fan. So
I mean, it's must see TV, right? Even for me, I've never grown up attached to a team in general,
yeah,
but for some reason, I'll wake up in the morning, and if the Lakers are playing, I'll watch the Lakers play.
yeah,
But unless Memphis is playing, because
yeah.
they're fun to watch. They're a lot of fun to
You know,
watch.
I remember when we started with the cards, right?
Yeah,
Oh shit, that's almost 2 years ago, right? I mean,
yeah, right around.
almost, yeah. And you said like you wanted a bit of like Ja. You were starting to collect Ja. I was like, man, he's an injury risk. Like in my mind, like
Yeah,
the way he plays, man, that's crazy. It's
fearless.
it's like Dwayne Wade slash Allen Iverson slash I don't know more
Hero.
reckless and just
Yeah, a little
combine it
bit.
all into him. And but it's amazing like how he's shooting like 50% in the field. He's
Efficient.
unblockable. Yeah, man, crazy. And
Good play.
they're outplaying like
A lot of
where
teams.
they are right now. They're not supposed to be there.
They're a great story. Getting towards the midway point. I
Yeah,
think they're a great story in the league.
yeah. You moved around a lot, no? When you were a kid. So is that the reason why you didn't have a team? Like,
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest reason why I never really latched in. My parents met in Hawaii. My Filipino side
mm,
mostly is all in Hawaii. So no pro
mm,
team there.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so it was really just like the NFL Pro Bowl that would come over in the off season, things like that. But lived in Arizona and Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Texas. So it was kind of follow a player for me more than like a team. So,
So
and that was
who
in every sport,
this?
whether it was basketball,
Yeah,
football, everything.
this was because your dad was a coach. Is a coach, right? So
Yeah,
wherever he moved, you guys moved
yeah,
pretty
we picked
much.
up. We were there. Yeah,
So who was your favorite player? Was it Magic?
man. Growing up, Magic. It was weird. I was called Little Magic. Magic wasn't at the top of my list. It was, I mean, Jordan. That was right when MJ was making his rise.
Yeah.
So MJ was on the list. I was a huge college basketball fan, so I liked watching Jason Kidd when he was at Cal, and I like Jalen Rose and
Michigan.
vibe. That was
Yeah.
like my childhood. But then in terms of the NBA, Penny Hardaway, Vince Carter, Allen Iverson, of course, growing up mostly on the East
Yeah.
Coast. I had an aunt who had season tickets to Georgetown games. So we would go. I got to watch him play in college. I actually watched him play in a state championship in high school.
Oh,
I was
nice.
I was like 10 years old, and my dad drove us from our city to the University of Virginia where they played the state championship, and I watched Allen Iverson play. His junior year of high school because he got in some trouble after that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
his junior year, I watched the state championship game, which
Yeah.
was awesome.
When did you realize, or when did your dad realize that you were like you had a career, man? They had a future in basketball.
Probably not until it actually started. I think my dad being around college athletics since I was 5 years old, I've seen myself personally and my dad has seen great talent not make it
Yeah.
to the professional ranks. You know what I mean? So, and that's whether, whatever happens off the field or off the court or just, the luck of it. I think to be a pro athlete, there is some kind of chance and luck involved.
Mm.
For me, I think my dad probably knew, like I said, after I finished at George Mason and then I came out here with the national team. I was part of the national team before I was ever a
So it was
pro.
only that? Like, I mean, that late
I mean,
already? Like,
yeah, I was a role player at a small Division
yeah.
One school. We went to the Final Four. We had our
Yeah.
our story, but I was never the man on that team.
Yeah.
I think my career high in college was like 14 points. So, um, my options were kind of limited after my college career was over. I had a workout with a local scout for the Jazz, which went horribly. I mean, Warren, I'm talking bad, bro. Like I was about to pass out in the
What?
warm up.
Why we
Yeah,
got nervous? I mean,
it was nerves part of it, and then it was about a 2 week window after my senior year had finished. We lost in the conference championship, and I was like just super down on myself. I was a senior. We had just gone to the Final Four the year before. I felt like I let my team down. I was the captain. And I was like, man, let me just step away from basketball. And then my agent called me out of nowhere, like, hey, there's a scout in the area. You got 3 days to get ready. And I'd never gone through a pro workout before.
yeah.
So I show up, it's myself, another guy my age who played at George Washington University, who was like all conference in their conference, and then two guys who were overseas players. So they were already pros and they came in. So it was just the two of us, or the four of us, excuse me. And man, no breaks, I think the first hour and a half we went with no water breaks, and it was drill after drill. Finally got a water break, and then we had to play 2-on-2, half of half court, best of 7 at the end. And I can't even see the basket at this point. I'm just like dribbling off my foot. It was a terrible workout.
But you mentioned George Mason, and you guys were nobodies, right? Pretty much, man. And you went all the way to the Final Four.
Yeah.
So before I ask you, what was the feeling, right?
Yeah.
In that game, like, what do you think did you guys have that actually brought you all the way to the Final Four?
Man, I'm so happy you asked that because I was probably gonna say it anyway. But we had a really strong belief in one another. It's very rare in college basketball where you have the same team from the year before. The year before, my sophomore year, we had no seniors on the team. So our main guys were our juniors who were now seniors, that Final Four run. And I think we added maybe two freshmen, a couple that played, a couple that didn't, something like that. So essentially, you'd rarely play 60 games with the same roster in college basketball in the States. So I think our chemistry was on a whole nother level. Our coach, Jim Larinaga, who's now the head coach at the University of Miami, is big into like the sports psychology side of things. He actually brought in right before the season started, he brought in a sports psychologist that works with a lot of golfers and pitchers, Major League Baseball pitchers. And our captain at the time, Lamar Butler, in the meeting was asked, we went through the whole visualization and he asked Lamar, what did you see? And I kid you not, Lamar said he saw us cutting down the nets at the Final Four. And this was before the season started. Like I got
Goosebumps,
chills right
bro.
now. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So we would have in
Yeah.
our practices that whole year, we would practice cutting down the nets, like randomly. Like, coach, get the ladder out, we cut down the nets, and
Wow.
it was so nothing was shocking to
Wow.
us. As crazy as it was something like we legit visualized and made happen. Like
That's
it,
crazy, man. Like how young were you guys back then?
we were shoot. I was 17.
17, and you already experienced the power of visualization, manifestation.
I guess I was older. I was older. I had to be closer to probably 19,
But like,
19, 20
I
still.
mean, you were kids, man, pretty
Yeah.
much, right? And
Yeah.
then a sports psychologist comes to you guys and starts talking about this, and you actually embrace it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a special thing with our team. Like we had guys from all walks of life. You know, I've been blessed. I grew up with both my parents. I've gotten to travel and live in different places. We had guys who were junior college transfers, or guys who grew up in not the nicest of situations,
Yeah.
but and some that lived in awesome situations. But our coach was really good at that. Like we would do random stuff. Like he'd have us. We took etiquette classes, so we had to
What?
learn. We had to have
Is
meals.
that Coach Carter, man? Some
Basically, we had etiquette classes. We had like a sports journalist team come in and teach us how to conduct interviews. We released
Wow.
butterflies one year. We released
What?
butterflies. We had a butterfly releasing ceremony. I kid you, bro. I'm not lying. He would come
Wow.
up with just culture building. If we went and played in New York City, we went and saw two plays right on Broadway. Like
Wow.
it was all an awesome experience doing my 4 years at George
Yeah.
Mason. That team. Back to your original question,
Yeah.
that team was just built off really chemistry and getting to know one another
Yeah.
over the span of really 2 years.
Yeah. And you get to the final four. You
Yeah,
face Florida, and I know the team. I
yeah,
have to admit, I didn't know you guys, but I actually watched them win the title.
yeah,
So that's Corey Brewer, right? That's
yeah.
Joakim Noah. Was Al Horford there?
Al Horford,
Al Horford. So
bro, they had a squad, and
legit NBA players,
it,
not and all stars. Man,
yeah,
Billy
team was
Donovan, right?
Billy Donovan.
Yeah, that
They
was
they
a
were
legit. That was a legit
on back
powerhouse,
to
bro.
back. They won back to back. That was the first of their back to back. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was an awesome experience. And
How's
you know it,
how crazy is March Madness, bro?
nothing like it. Honestly,
And
there,
up to
there
this day, with everything that you've done, the environment, the feeling there, would you say that that's unbeatable?
it's up there. FIBA Asia here when we beat Korea
Oh yeah.
is it's like 1A and 1B. If not, that game in
Yeah.
in Mo might have it. But the run altogether
Yeah.
is unbelievable, man. Like
From
it,
nowhere, man.
it's awesome to go from nobodies to having
Yeah.
cameras following us on campus, going to classes. The way the tournament's set up, I think we usually played Thursdays and Saturdays or Friday and Sunday. So you'd leave campus on a Tuesday night, Monday night or something, get to whatever city we were in, play your two games that weekend, go back to school for 2 or 3 days, and then do it again the next. And then
Yeah.
it was 3 straight weeks of
Yeah.
just living a dream.
I mean, I don't really follow
Yeah.
NCAA, but every time it's March Madness, of course, you get to watch the games. And like the fans, man, like the environment, the energy is just crazy. And then the Cinderella stories are like the
Yeah.
best part.
Yeah.
And there's always like a heartbreaker, like a heave here,
Yeah.
like a crazy shot there. Why do you think that happens, bro? I mean, if you think about it, right, comparing it to a regular season or comparing it to the NBA even
Yeah.
or to the PBA, the amount of buzzer beaters
In the tournament.
in a tournament is just so high.
Yeah, I think part of it is the neutral sites. I think
Mm.
depending on, like for us, we played our first 2 rounds of games in Dayton, Ohio, which isn't close, but isn't extremely far from our campus. We didn't play against Ohio State, who was the top seed in that little bubble that we had
Yeah.
there. But Georgetown was there. Who else was there? Us and then Michigan State, North Carolina, who we ended up playing.
Hmm.
But we had a good draw. And naturally, the way they sell tickets is all the teams are there. So of course, if Georgetown and Ohio State play after us, and we're playing Michigan State, who is Ohio State's rivals
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the conference, they're all going to cheer for us. You know what I mean? So the crowd,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
neutral site, but everybody wants to see the underdog win. So, we played Michigan State in the first game, and then we turn around and play North Carolina in the next. And who doesn't want to see little George Mason put up a fight? And then next thing
Yeah. Yeah.
we're winning games.
Yeah.
Then you fast forward the next week, and we're playing in DC, and we're 20 minutes from campus. So actually, Jim Calhoun, who was the head coach of Connecticut at the time,
Yes.
was mad. Like he was mad that we were put in that region to play the next round in DC because it was a home game for us.
Yeah.
We had
So home court, bro, really matters. Like,
in college. I can't speak
oh
on the
yeah.
NBA level since I didn't play.
But
I
in,
didn't
but
have.
in college, like you really fed off that energy.
Yeah, and it can work two ways too. I've been in games and seen teammates go off because the crowd is booing them and going against them. So it can go
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah.
I played at Duke. I played at North Carolina. We played at Maryland. We played at Wichita State,
Yeah.
which was crazy.
Really?
But yeah, there's nothing.
That's Fred Van Vliet's school, right?
Yeah, that
Wichita
place
State.
is probably one of the wildest crowds I had to play for.
Really?
We got there. I think it was almost 2 hours before tip off, and the student section was full, completely full.
That's
Nobody
awesome,
else
man.
was there but the
That's
student section.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I mean, even in your career here in the Philippines, as a in the PBA, you were never really the highlights kind of player. You were always a defensive specialist, and like you mentioned earlier, syempre you're like fans of these like flashy big name stars. But your game, to be honest, has nothing
yeah,
to do with, you know, the
yeah.
people that you were watching, right? So what's the story there? I mean, of all things, bro, I mean, I'm sorry, man. I mean, like when I was a kid, nobody would pick me, but when I was a kid, I wouldn't like, oh, I want to be a defensive specialist, bro. So what's the story there?
I think for me, it started. There's two parts to the story. It kind of one goes back to Little Magic because my dad kind of regrets. At the time, I think I was a bit of a ball hog, and my dad, being one of the younger dads,
Yeah.
wanted me to fit in. I was the new kid in Arizona, so he's like, Gabe, pass it around a little bit, and I started liking it. And my dad
Mm.
jokes about all the time. He's like, boy, if I would have never told you to pass, we don't know where you'd be. But that's one part. But the other part, I think I just understood, like I said, being around college athletics and kind of knowing it's only going to be one guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's,
Mm.
especially the way our team, especially early 2000s, we were playing through the post a lot. So we had two beasts on the block, Jai Lewis and Will Thomas, who were unstoppable. One's left-handed, the other was right-handed. So we just put them on either block. We had the all-time leading three-point shooter in our school's history as our captain. We had a point guard who played in the Olympics for Nigeria. Like, we had a squad too. So I just had to figure out ways to get on the court. And for me, that was taking on any role. I played 1 through 4 since my freshman year of
Nice.
college, and it just got me on the court. When I was finished at George Mason, I played in the most games ever at the university.
Mm.
Just in terms of like checking in and being in there.
Yeah.
I think the record was broken a year later, but at the time that I left, and I think for me, it was just finding a way to be valuable, finding a way to stay on the court and really give myself opportunities to do all those highlights. Because I definitely did. I'll have highlight here and there, but it's
Yeah.
like not something I was necessarily hunting for myself.
Yeah.
I just like throughout how the game is played.
Whenever I watch you, I mean, what top of mind really is it's basketball IQ, is playing the right way. You're not gonna do anything crazy. You're not gonna do anything that's gonna put your team in a bad spot, right? And definitely you're the glue guy,
Yeah,
right? I mean, even for Gilas, like automatically your name's there, man. Automatically. I mean, there are like flashier players with bigger numbers and all that, right? But you're there.
yeah,
And but yeah, that puts you in that good position to do that dunk,
yeah.
man.
That was
I was
about to be
screaming, bro. I actually liked the other dunk better. He had two
me
dunks
too.
on him, man.
Me too.
One was more popular, right? But the other dunk was better, bro.
Yeah, I think the other one was on a EuroLeague player, Mata. I forget his first name, but I mean, if the second one was on Scola, I think that would have got a little bit more praise. I don't dunk very often with my left hand. The second one was left-handed, and I usually don't jump off of 1 foot. For people who don't know,
Yeah,
1 foot and 2 foot jumper. I'm definitely a 2 foot jumper, so
yeah,
to get that other one off 1 foot was surprising to myself.
yeah. I mean, again, going back to you being that kind of player, that high IQ defensive specialist, man, you had an entire career and it's still going. I was looking
Yeah,
at your minutes because you being an old head, right? I was like,
yeah,
why is he still playing 30 minutes, man? And like your team is full of young guns, man. And you're still there. I mean, props to you, bro.
no, I appreciate it, man.
Props to
Appreciate.
you, man. I mean, you still have that space. You still have that role in the team. I'm sure, of course, there's a leadership component to it. But at the end of the day, you played the game so well, the right way, that you actually put your teammates in a position to be better, man. And you're like, you're always the kuya, no? Parang you have that kind of role, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I didn't ask for it, but
Yeah.
it's over time. It's kind of happened, and we got a good young group too at Rain or Shine, guys who are eager to get out there. And
Yeah.
I think it's one of those situations. Also, if I play to the best of my ability, that also helps the next guy get minutes. I can go sit down and
Yeah.
hopefully have a lead or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just enjoying it now. I'm trying to keep myself in shape and keep myself active to where I can help our team
Yeah.
in any way possible.
Does James Yap kill the kids, man? Like, do they
Oh,
have one on ones, man? Or
I mean, James he's on a little hiatus right now, running for office, but he'll pop up here and there.
but like I also I remember him for UE, man.
Yeah,
Unguardable, bro.
I can only imagine. And
Yeah,
that was the time UE was cranking out
yeah,
pros. I think at one point it was UE and FEU
yeah,
had like the most
yeah.
PBA players in the league.
And they were really solid, bro. Like real players, man. It's not like papogi lang and what that, right?
You get it done.
You know that of course in your team, I'm a big fan of Bo Belga. He's my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, he's next in line, right? It's like Braun, then
Then
Bo,
Bo,
like
bro.
right
I
there.
mean, again, in my fantasy teams, right? You see my picture, it's Bo, bro.
Hasn't changed for a while. Bo, man, we came into the league together. I think people underestimate Bo's IQ too.
Yeah, that's what I was
I
like,
wish
man.
I wish everybody could come and watch our practice. Like he legit knows every position. He can play one through five.
Yeah,
He at least understands. He knows where to go, who should get the
really.
ball, his IQ
So
is
what?
through
He's
the
like Draymond, like that kind of.
really,
Yeah.
really.
Because I
Draymond,
always get into an argument when they like, say, yo, Bo Belga just hurts people. I'm like, yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't contest that. But the IQ of that guy, bro,
yeah,
it's
he,
up there, man. Like, but it's
he's up
funny, bro,
there.
because he's so thick. Like he never. But
Got to make it
hey,
work for you. He makes
but
it work for him,
but hey, man, Jokic is the MVP of the NBA, and I don't see any muscles on Jokic, bro.
right? I mean, you got to make do with what you got. Make it work.
What year are you in, man? 2000. You entered 2008, right?
2008. Yeah.
Shit,
So what's that? Going
14
on
years. 14 years, bro.
a long time, man.
How long are you seeing your like? How many years do you have it? Does it hurt now? Do you feel it?
Recovery is definitely, probably started a couple years ago,
Mm.
and just in terms of the turnaround. And unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people know, but even the last World Cup, which was probably one of my worst international performances
Mm.
ever, wasn't 100%. And I
Mm.
feel like a lot of it, I've been fighting to try to get back to that,
Mm.
even throughout this. But just trying to do my best to take care of my body, recovery, and trying to eat as well as possible. It's tough with all the lockdowns and everything going in and out,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm relatively healthy now, so I think I can help us the best I can.
You got 5 years.
Ooh, five. Let's take it a year at
A year
a time.
time.
A year at a time and see how it goes.
But
Yeah,
I hope you end your career, man, with rain or shine, bro.
yeah. I mean, that's the dream for me. They've looked out for me since the day that they drafted me.
Yeah.
Coach Kaloy Garcia drafted me. We've had Coach Yang come
Yeah.
in, Coach Kaloy come back, and now Coach Chris Cavina. But through it all, the management has always just been like family to me.
Yeah.
I don't do anything else in terms of the PBA.
Yeah. Are you gonna get into coaching? Since
I mean,
You're Kuya Gabe, bro. And I mean, you always mentor and guide a lot of, the young ones.
yeah. I mean,
So yeah, and it's in your blood, bro. Like your dad is a coach. So do you see that?
I always thought that'd be the natural transition. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's been a weird couple of years, in terms of the game and being able to really teach it at a level
Mm.
I'd like to. But hopefully as things gradually get into more of a routine, that will get sparked a little bit more in terms of just finding other outlets to really share my experiences, share my knowledge of the game, whether that's just talking to my oldest two sons, even my
Mm.
my youngest Izzy's getting into basketball now, but just trying to figure it all out in terms of the next step.
Yeah. And I was like thinking, maybe going back to your experience, to playing experience, representing the country. I mean, Gilas. I
Yeah.
mean, we talked about this before, right? Like, I don't think the Philippines is ever. Of course, this is going to be controversial, but I don't think the Philippines can ever compete really in a global level, right? Of course, you guys would have something to say on that, but maybe what I want to zero in really is the feeling, of representing your country, being the underdog, forever the underdog, and going against those giants, man, beating Korea.
That was
What's
awesome.
that like, bro?
I mean, it's hard to put into words, especially being, a Philam and having just the opportunity itself already, just to be here and play is already just super humbling, to be able to come back here and really represent that side of my family. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? My Lola just turned, what was she, 96, 90,
Wow.
and this is my great grandmother. I come from a pretty young family, so
Mm.
I still have my great grandmother. But just to hear the joy she has when I'm able to speak to her, that I'm able to come out and represent them is super super humbling. And then at the same time, just understanding the love of the game of basketball
Yeah.
here and being able to represent the country for almost a decade and understanding the guys who are so hungry for this position. I think that's the main reason why I don't say no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna have to take
Yeah,
that.
you're in all the teams, man. I mean, have you skipped one?
I wasn't on the original Gila squad with
Okay.
Coach Ryko, so that was the young guys. I think that was Chris Chu and
Mm.
JV,
Yeah.
and
But that's it.
yeah, they added some PBA guys later. I think that was Ossie, Jimmy, and Kelly, Ronadell as well.
Yeah.
And then I think there was one other, a Sea Games or Siaba
Yeah.
here, that I wasn't on. But aside from that, I've been pretty much there since 2008,
Yeah.
2007.
Ranadel's a beast, bro.
Uh, Super skilled.
Yeah.
super skilled. And you want to talk about somebody who's like game evolved, because Rondell used to dirty people up back in the
Yeah.
day. He would definitely
No,
get
yeah,
that.
for sure.
But man, you want to talk some like who just truly evolved on the court for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Mm.
Dell went personally, but he's a great teammate, great competitor, and
Yeah, man.
probably one of the most underrated players that will ever be in the PBA.
He's not flashy kasi, right? I mean, medyo corny.
Yeah,
But man, buckets,
fundamental.
bro.
Yeah, shoot it. He does everything well.
And yeah, he's gonna hurt you. You're gonna feel it. Like you could
Definitely.
see. So yeah, you're well loved, bro. Like that's a true story, man. I mean, nobody hates on you. I think you're one of the few players that nobody's gonna say a bad thing. You know, you always win those sportsmanship awards. But I fucking don't buy it, bro. Like you must be a bit dirty, man.
I
Come
mean,
on.
I try to get one tech a year. I try to get one tech a year to see if I won't get it. I put it on. I usually get it early in the season and just get it out my system. I go off
So,
and go from there. But
so you actually get one tech.
I usually get at least, yeah, I think I get right around one to two techs a year. I remember the worst. I think we were playing when they first put in the landing spot rule.
Yeah.
We were playing, I think Alaska at the time in like a tune-up, and I think I got thrown out of a tune-up because of
What?
a. I think LA was playing for Alaska at the time, and I think he landed on my foot, and I really think I got ejected. I think I got ejected from a tune-up game, but aside from that, I only got suspended once in my career. That was my rookie year. Kind of got into it with somebody from Santa Lucia. It didn't go well.
Would they always would the Pinoys, like the pure Pinoys, try to get in the nerves of the Philams? Is there that kind of like welcome motherfucker? Like something like that shit.
I think a bit of it, but at the same time, especially like my first year in the PBL, and
Hmm.
for people who don't know, the PBL was a grind. Like we tell a lot of the young
Really?
Phillies now, yeah, because you had ex pros who were playing in the PBA.
Mm.
The way the PBA kind of sets up their D League now is a lot of school based, and you can still use your college imports and things
Yeah.
like that who can eventually play in the PBA, but at the time it was all everybody either trying to get in the
Yeah.
PBA, get back in, or just get their games in
Yeah.
for the Lambs. But there was definitely some welcoming moments. Most of them from Bo Belgo. We weren't teammates yet. We weren't teammates yet. But it was night in and night out.
Yeah.
And at a time, I thought it was personal. But at the same time, when I look back at film, and it's like, oh, everybody was getting it. It wasn't just. I think everybody was. It wasn't just me. But I think that's one part of the transition for a lot of the Phil foreigners
Yeah.
that they got used to. I don't find I'll be lying if I said I'm the toughest dude out there on the court, but at the same time, I like to think I stuck up for myself early in my career to where,
Yeah.
you know,
And you
I'm
used to
kind of
score more, bro.
yeah,
You used to
yeah,
score more.
it's true.
And you get
I
cornier and cornier, bro, as the years go on,
mean, you can only do so much. You can only do so much.
man. I mean, it's just really great, bro. Like really, really great. Because again, your career, despite I'm not putting you down, man. I don't know how this is gonna sound, but again, it's not the shiniest career, right? But shit, man, keeps going. And the way
Man,
you play, by the way, the way you play, you could play till 40.
oof,
Because I know you're gonna come on, man. Tell me. So what's your favorite sneaky dirty move, bro?
my fake. I mean, I feel like I get away with a lot just in terms of just like the hip pushes.
Okay.
Like I haven't mastered the art of everything. Like I haven't mastered the whole the pinching the baby fat stuff, or the little sneaky like
Yeah.
undercut on the ball stuff. Like I've had to go through all of that. But for me, it's just subtle basketball stuff. I think I've kind of learned and mastered,
Yeah.
whether it's being able to kind of use my length to my advantage.
Mm.
A lot of times people can get distracted by a hand up here and not see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
on the
But
body.
but
In
there's
terms of like super dirty,
no sneaky elbows here and there, man. Come on.
I mean, I've had my
I'm trying to
moments,
squeeze you, bro. Come on. I mean,
my moments. You know, we all kind of lose sight and black out every once in a while, but
yeah.
you know, I probably got that was probably one of my texts. If you go back and look it up.
You getting ejected, man. I'm like, yeah.
I threw the ball. I threw the ball at another guy's face after the whistle and I got thrown out. And then Saul Mercado was
Yeah.
my ace at the time. He came in and bum rushed somebody else. So we both got kicked out. But then they suspended us for 2 different games.
What?
Yeah, so it was game 1 of a best of 3. I got suspended. We lost, so we end up losing. I got suspended for game 2, and since we lost that one, Saul got suspended for the first game of the next conference.
Don't get me started with the PBA, bro. Like, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
put you in that spot.
we'll leave it alone. We'll leave it alone.
You know, what are the 3 things that you know that got you to where you are now, bro? Because before you answer that, you're an all around great guy, man. I mean, I have to tell everyone,
Appreciate it.
like, on of course, like as a player, you know, that's why nobody was gonna believe you that you got kicked out. Nobody's gonna believe that shit. 1 tech a year, that's funny actually, but I think you're doing it on purpose just to prove to yourself that you have this,
Right.
you know, that
Gotta let it out.
rage. Yeah, man.
Wow.
But generally, you're just really mild mannered, man. You're always cool. You're always steady. You're a great dad, great husband.
Appreciate it.
So what are the 3 things?
Man. 3 things.
Yeah.
Well, one for me, I think it comes down to a little bit with my faith. You know, I won't go too heavy into that, but I think a lot of it is built off of first impressions and really carrying your name. You know, I think carrying your name or carrying your faith. You know, for me in this terms, my name. You know, there's not a lot of Norwoods running around the Philippines.
Sure.
But I want to leave a good impression to where you might meet somebody named Norwood who has no connection to me, but I've left a good enough impression to where, you know what I mean? It's that first gut feeling to association. I think part of that's being the oldest of 5 and really trying to set an example. And that's something I've always brought, even with Gilas, you know, following leadership like Jimmy and LA and guys like that. You know, we represent the country wherever we go. So I leave a good first impression. You know, if they meet a Filipino anywhere in their walk of life, they'll be like, oh, I remember the basketball players. If they're anything like the basketball players, they should be fine.
Yeah.
So I think that's one, just leaving a good first impression. 2 is respecting culture. I think that's one thing that's kind of made my transition easier. You know, I've always been the new kid, so I've been used to having to be thrust into new cultures and new environments, from something as little in elementary school when it was cool to wear your backpack on one strap, and then next year I move and everybody thinks that's corny in a different state, so I gotta wear 2, like just little stuff. You know, I don't know if that was the greatest example, but just respecting culture, respecting the fact that what you do isn't necessarily always right, but you can at least respect another man's kind of approach and mindset to what they have to say, and respectfully decline or respectfully agree. So I think respect is a big thing. And then last, man, I guess it'd be just hard work. You know, I know there's guys in the league that might work a little bit harder than me, but I try to maximize my time as much as possible, especially when it comes to my craft and playing basketball, whether that's physically, you know, I'm in a different state now, but mentally trying to always be locked into a game, locked into my opponent, and really locked into helping my team the best I can. So I guess that would be mindset. It would be what? Respect, just first impressions, leaving a great first impression, and just hard work.
And who instilled those things to you, man? Or how'd you pick it up? Like, I think the second part there really was because of traveling, like, you know, always being the new kid, right? I'm sure it has a lot to do with that. But maybe especially the hard work part, like, is that again from the because you're a family of athletes too, man. So Is that unspoken? Like that's the rule, man. You gotta grind.
I think it is, especially the way we grew up. In the States, sports are seasonal, right? Like you go from basketball season right into baseball or soccer, right into football, into
Mm.
whatever. So we were always playing something. Like I think, my dad really kept us active. My parents all together, my mom, my dad kept us super active as kids to where we didn't know it wasn't normal. You know what I mean? To be
Mm.
playing something or going up and
Yeah.
being at a camp or being at a practice or preparing for some type of game. So, whether it was just competition between my brothers or whatever,
Yeah.
we are always pushing each other. And, one of my favorite verses is, iron sharpens iron. And for me, sports was my icebreaker.
Yeah.
That's where I met my friends. That's how I fit in. That's how I felt comfortable and really allowed me to really blossom, and build my friendships and relationships. So I think it's definitely was instilled because if I showed up in a new state and I couldn't hoop or I couldn't throw the football further than somebody or run faster or jump higher, um, you know, I definitely would have had to study a lot
Yeah.
more.
So, I mean, sports because you always had the talent, right? I mean, I would imagine, and that's what got you in quickly
Yeah,
into the local communities because pretty much you could ball, you
yeah,
could hoop, you could do it, man. And they pick you,
yeah,
right? And next thing you know, you got friends.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, man.
It's the beauty of sports, but I think that could go with anything, right? That
Yeah,
can go whether if you're into this TV show or this type of music or anything. I feel like it's hard in
yeah,
school, in grade school, in middle school, and high school to really find your group or
yeah,
your thing. And I think we're all searching at that age anyway. But for me, I think it was kind of laid
yeah,
right in my path early on. I kind of always knew I wanted to play sports. I always knew I
yeah.
wanted to be a Division I athlete, and that was kind of my vision. I only had one Division I offer. George Mason was my only D1 offer, and I got it after my senior season was over. Like I thought I wasn't going to play college basketball.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like I was like, it was D1 or bust for me, and my decision was basically made for me since I only had one offer.
Yeah, yeah. You always had hard work embedded in you. I mean, ever since, or was there a period wherein you're pretty talented, so you just coast through? Was
Yeah,
what?
I think I
Yeah.
definitely hit that coast moment. Probably when I moved from my sophomore year of high school, I was in Texas. So I was lucky. I made varsity as a freshman in Maryland. My
Mm.
dad was coaching at the Naval Academy at the time, so I was already feeling myself. Like they were juniors who were still playing JV, and I
How
was
tall were you at
I
that
was I
time?
was 5'10".
Okay.
I grew gradually through high school.
Okay.
But yeah, so I played varsity as a freshman in Maryland. We moved to Texas for my sophomore year. And I get there and I make all county, all city, whatever,
Mm.
all league. And I'm thinking, I'm gonna go to Texas Tech. That's where my dad was
Yeah.
coaching at the time. I'm gonna play in the Big 12, all this. Then we pick up and move. We only lived there for a year. And when I got to Pennsylvania, it's more of a football state, especially where my dad was coaching in
Yeah.
central Pennsylvania. So I came in kind of big headed. I was definitely big headed.
Yeah.
I got humbled quickly going into my senior year where I had no offers. Like it's actually part of my testimony. It's part of my walk. Like we all have those moments where we feel. I mean, I don't know if unwanted is the word, but
Mm.
at that time, I think that's what I was feeling. It was a sense of I'm doing this, so I deserve something in return.
Yeah.
Uh, when there was probably thousands of kids my age doing the same exact
Yeah.
thing and probably either did or didn't get that opportunity that I did. But was humbled through that experience through my senior year, which probably made me more hungry. Waking up at 5 a.m., walking to the local YMCA to go shoot, and then walking back home to shower before school, and then going to practice. Like you hear the stories all the time, but
Yeah.
actually put myself through it and know that I did put the work in, even if it wasn't super consistent. Just to say,
Yeah.
I know what it takes, I know what I can do, and what I'm capable of.
Yeah. So you had that. You had that. Hey man, I'm pretty good, bro.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? You're in what 10th, 11th
Yeah.
grade. You're balling. You're starting every game.
Yeah.
You're little. You got the girls cheering for you. You got all that.
Yeah.
It
I'm
definitely goes to your head.
I was having a conversation with a national athlete yesterday actually,
Okay.
and we were talking about it because he's a swimmer,
Okay.
and I mean originally a swimmer, so that was his like first sport in his hometown. He's from Bacolod. He dominated.
Yeah.
Gets to I guess the region. That domination fades a bit. Gets to the national level. He's gone, bro.
Yeah.
He's like, so I guess to some extent, right? You get to experience that local. You're pretty good in your hometown, man. You're winning. Next
Yeah.
thing you know, you're competing against the bigger boys, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like you're far.
It's humbling. It's a extremely humbling experience,
Yeah,
especially when you go from the man to just a guy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it kind of goes either way. It's one of those things where you kind of accept it and maybe continue to fade, or you
yeah,
work hard. You could still fade anyway. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I can never diminish another man's work that they put in because not all of our outcomes are the
yeah.
same.
To put it into context, like I always say this, so please correct me if I'm wrong. I
Yeah,
think like here in the Philippines, siyempre basketball, diba? That's just the biggest thing ever. So there's the inter barangay, or well, there's the pickup games, like the weekly pickup games, right? So you can be good there, right? You can be good there. But when it comes to the inter barangay, like the teams na talaga,
yeah,
for sure, even if you're good there, it doesn't necessarily translate that you're gonna be good in the UAAP or in the NCAA or in the PBL. Like, how far is each level up? Like from a skill, like
I
you get what I'm
mean,
saying. I'm not.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I guess it's hard to put like numbers to it or like a frame to it because
yeah,
hearing you speak on that makes me think of one of my favorite interviews that I remember seeing was with Jamal Crawford.
okay,
You always ask him like, what's your mentality and
yeah,
this, that, and the other, because as much as you want to say there's been some great careers, but Jamal Crawford has had a great career, and he probably
bro.
looks he's the same age as his rookie year. But he basically said that he approached. I don't want to get the quote wrong
Yeah,
or speak out of context
yeah,
for him, but the way I understood it was he was basically saying he always had the same mindset since high school. Like he always approached it, the same routine, stuff like that. So I guess some of it is built off of the mental side of the game.
mm,
I think a lot of it is put in the right scenario. Like if you're a knockdown 3-point shooter in the Inter Barangay League and
yeah.
you get to the UAP where all
Jack
you have to do
Chia, bro. Jack
check,
Chia.
knockdown guy in the
Of course, he's from Ateneo, right? Sorry to
yeah.
cut you, but I remember that's the story of Jack Chia.
Hmm.
Like he wasn't even a player for the team, but he'd kill it, bro. He'd kill it like whatever game, he'd kill it. Whatever
Yeah.
pickup game, whatever. He was a legend of. Again, I can have it wrong because I'm from LaSalle, right? Obviously, I hate Ateneo. So
That's a whole other
yeah.
segment. I can see
So
you were going there.
but
You're about to
but but that was the story of Jack Chia. That's what we heard.
go.
Like, and then he moved to college to the team, right?
Yeah.
And he was lights out, bro.
Yeah. I
We,
mean,
we hated him, man.
he was
we
in the PBA when I first got in. I think he was still in the league for my first couple of years in the
yeah,
PBA.
we hated him,
But
bro.
yeah, I mean, he could shoot it. He could knock it down.
Yeah,
It's in terms of all of that, like just the distance in from one level to the next. I think a lot of it is being able to handle pressure. It's
mm-hmm.
everything that comes with it too,
Yeah,
right? Like, you get to the UAP, especially here,
yeah.
not to nail
Rockstar,
it
bro.
down. And I can only imagine with social media, like you can go play in your pickup game and you can come home and nobody's going to talk about it,
Yeah,
unless it's like your group chat or something like that.
yeah,
But I think it's a lot of it is what comes with it.
mm-hmm.
The expectations, the consistency that you have to show, the fact that you can't go out and get in trouble off the court, or it's going to
Yeah,
cost you scholarship or your job or you know what I mean? It could hurt your team altogether. So I think there's definitely a talent distance, and kind of experience on the court and things like
Yeah,
that. I think it's also the mental and the stuff outside of the
yeah.
actual game that come with
So
it.
it's not just the sport. It's not just the talent. I mean, like what if I'm hearing you correctly? You're saying that it's not just the talent, it's not just the hard work. There are other components, like a lot of major factors that come into, any athlete. And moving up or having the opportunity to move up amplifies also those other factors that are put in.
Right. That's why for me, like individual sport athletes are unbelievable to me.
Why is
Because
that?
man, that's because you're out there on your own. You have to go through that whole process. You can't look to a teammate to say, "Oh, you go have a good game and we can still win,"
Yeah,
or I'm off tonight,
yeah,
but it's okay. You know what I mean? Individual sport athletes look at boxers or
yeah,
golfers, tennis, all that. Like I have utmost respect for them because for me, team sports are everything. Like everything that comes with it, the locker room, the
yeah,
camaraderie, traveling, all that.
yeah,
But I couldn't imagine going through that myself, like being a diver and just you
yeah,
know the hours upon hours that went into this one dive, and I have to execute it perfectly. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like that's a whole different level
I
of
can
mentorship.
imagine the self-talk, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's probably borderline crazy already. I mean that you gotta motivate your, like what you just said, man. You're
Yeah,
alone. You're gonna perform by yourself.
it's on you.
Of course, you got a coach. Right? You got that support team, but you're an individual performer.
Yeah,
And you mentioned diving,
yeah. Could you imagine just
like,
going up on a high dive, like,
bro. Yeah,
like that's tough, and that's a lot of work. Especially you look at Olympic
yeah,
athletes, like that's 4 years of hard work they're putting into
yeah,
what 5 dives or something like that. I don't even
yeah,
know how.
yeah, yeah. Well, since you are a professional athlete, so we always need to have that goat conversation. Personally, I don't believe in that conversation, by the way. So I think it's flawed. I think you can never find, like, there's no answer to that
Mhm.
GOAT conversation. If it's Jordan, if it's Braun. Man,
Yeah,
if it's Robert Ory, bro. Like, of course, Bill Russell would have more rings.
yeah.
What's your take on that GOAT conversation? What's your opinion on that? Do you
I
have a
mean, it's
GOAT? Do you think Jordan is the GOAT? You're a Jordan fan, so
for me, Jordan
is the GOAT.
is
Okay,
for me because I mean that's just my two
sure.
cents. You can go to numbers, but for me, it's just more for me.
Yeah,
To be honest, it's
yeah,
just my personal experiences, my personal memories of waking up and watching this guy just dominate, and
yeah.
then
He killed
being
everyone, bro.
yeah,
I
they're
hated him
being
too, by the way. I was a Knicks fan, so I hated him. But he
oh
killed
I'm
it.
sorry.
But he killed everyone, bro.
Yeah, it was nothing against New York for sure, but yeah, for me, I think it's just a fun conversation because it's never ending, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
gonna be the next generation. I'm gonna be old and have to listen to Cash and O debate on
yeah.
if it, who knows, it's
True,
Bronny James or you know what I mean.
true.
It could be anybody,
Yeah,
but I think that's the cool thing with sports, especially the game of basketball.
yeah,
It's global. Everybody has their 2 cents and their
yeah.
opinions, but I think it's tough to separate from generations. Like I think Draymond just did an interview to where it was like I can't put anybody in my top 5 who I didn't see play, and I respect that. Like
True.
I respect that approach.
Yeah,
It
but he had a
probably
killer top five, bro.
yeah,
He had a killer top five, man. I would argue that his top five would actually beat a lot of the older generations. I mean, actually, that's my point. Um, Number one, even though I'm Braun sexual, I don't think Braun is the goat yet. Or maybe you'd have to qualify. Like, what are the
yeah. What are the
what?
checkpoints? Right?
Yeah,
Like
like what are we talking about? Goat in what way, right? Something like that. But
yeah,
but I think the biggest issue for me is that generation. It's the generations thing. It's like the UFC, bro.
yeah,
The first time the UFC came around, Crazy killed everyone, man.
yeah.
You think Gracie would win even for a newcomer with a new UFC comer with the way the sport has evolved,
Right.
the training, the technology, the hybrid systems and all that. Same with basketball, bro. I mean, I don't know if it's true, right? Braun spends over $1 million like in his body, right? I mean, if Shaq would actually, di ba Kobe said that? Like, if Shaq actually took it seriously and he'd put in more, because he, by the way, he is the most dominant. I really think he is the hands down the most dominant player. But if he actually put in that kind of effort, technology, and resources, so that's yung point ko talaga, really. Parang Bill Russell had 11, man.
Yeah. And why is
Pero
he
the
not?
league was much smaller,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if you'd watch the tape, like there are players there who do not have no business whatsoever in that court, right? He was like, Will Chamberlain was so big, bro. Like, right?
Yeah.
Then of course, here comes the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. But yun na nga eh, iba-iba na yung generations. Eh. Iba-iba, like the level, I would argue that the level of competition now is at an all-time high. Talent-wise, system-wise, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, guys are the shots that are normal now would have been terrible
Yeah.
shots. Growing
Steph
up.
Curry, bro.
Yeah.
You know who he reminds me of? I remember watching the old NBA videos of Bob Cousy running around.
All with the right hand.
Yeah, bro. Making fun of like pretty much everyone that he's playing against. That's what Steph Curry's doing, bro.
Yeah.
You see his game winner earlier? Like he had a
Just
bad game, like kicking the
my spot.
seat. He was like angry and everything. Then, yeah, whatever. I'll shoot the game winner.
That was a great game too, though. That was a fun game to watch. I wasn't expecting that, but
Well,
yeah,
actually,
I agree with you. I agree with you in terms of especially the athleticism. From the first guy to the last guy on the bench, is pretty wild to see.
yeah.
I had the pleasure of playing during the lockout year when all those guys came out.
Yeah. I watched both games, bro.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I lined up for both games, man.
That's right. So I definitely owed you the Braun tickets after that.
You played against Durant, right?
Yeah, so it was KD, D Rose, fresh off the MVP.
So what's the 7'5" wingspan like, bro?
Oh, you just hope he misses. That's like there's really not much you can do with it. I have a picture. I'm guarding him, and his arms are like stretched out, and my arms are stretched out, but only go to like barely. Like you hope he misses. There's not much you can do.
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature.
Bro, what's better? I mean, I think you're old enough. Okay, fine. You're young enough to experience the Fab Five baggy shorts
Ooh, short
and
shorts.
the crop shorts of now. I mean, it's back, right? I mean, it's not as baggy as before, right? It's a bit shorter now. So I don't even want to talk about if you had the Magic Johnson shorts. I'll leave that part. So,
No, it's
but
not.
what's better, bro? What's better? Baggy
Yeah.
shorts or a bit tighter?
I'm not gonna lie. I still own some baggy shorts, bro. Like that's my around the house shorts right now. I can't let them go. The Fat Five was everything. I wasn't even a huge Michigan fan. I grew up loving North Carolina.
It's the culture, right?
Yeah, that was like a good time. You look back, probably wasn't the best time in fashion, but it was definitely it definitely brings back some good memories. But yeah, you got to find a comfortable in between. I think I try to embrace.
What's the longest like pair that you've had up to wear?
Oh, I got ridiculous. My first year in the PBL, if anybody looks up Gabe Norwood Happy Tooth, I asked them. They came in. It was my first time ever getting fitted, because college you don't get fitted for anything. You just take what they give you, right?
Okay.
So PBL, they came over, get fitted for jerseys, and I was like, oh, the jersey, like they're already a little bit past my knee. It's already kind of baggy, but I was like, oh, let me get about another 3 inches. I was like out there and almost capris. I could barely dribble the ball between my legs. It was 1 year. It
Did
never
you have
again.
end ones too at the time? Like, what were you wearing, man? Or
I was still with Nike. Shout out to Nike.
Forever, like.
Yeah, I was able to get on Nike because I was with the national team before, and that was outfitting they were outfitting the national team, and they put me on. So I've been with Nike since day one.
But I remember the time, right? Of course, the Tai Chi,
Ooh, Vince.
Vince, and not only that, bro. Ray for Alston, man. I mean, with the
Ooh,
bag,
Tip,
with the bagginess, the
Tip
shorts,
to my Lou. Oh man, that was a good. And
the,
with mixtape, that was a good time.
the stupidest pair of shoes was Chris Webber's, bro. Those Dadas, the one with the spinners, man. That was like stupid. But yeah, but that was the time. That
Yeah,
was golden, bro.
another times for sure. That
The
was
bagginess.
Nike shorts. Man, I never had a beeper though. I was always jealous. I always wanted a
What?
beeper. I never had a beeper.
Really?
I never had a beeper. Mom wouldn't let me have one. Just come home.
Come on, bro. We experienced the beepers, bro, and we changed like the cases. Then of course
Right?
it went to the eventually it evolved to the cell phones of the Nokias and
Oh
the 5110s. Papalitan mo yung LCD. Like you'd put an acetate and you'd put like iba-ibang colors ng bulbs.
yeah.
Then you'd have a better off alone ringtone, bro. I don't even know what you're talking about, man. Like, what the fuck are you
Yeah,
talking
we just dated ourselves. We might have to cut that out.
All right, man. I mean, before I usually end an episode, I ask like a series of questions. So hopefully, the idea here is for us to get some words of wisdom or tips, whatnot. What has worked for you. So I hope you don't mind if I ask you. These are proper questions, bro. These are not like.
All right. I wasn't sure where we are going with it.
First question: what's the best advice you've ever received?
Man, probably from my dad. It's gonna sound a little wild, but he would always say sometimes you got to jump off that cliff. You got to take those chances. I'm naturally a pretty reserved person, but at the same time, I think some of the best outcomes have come where just put yourself out there. The worst you're gonna hear is no, and you're right back to where you were. So sometimes you just got to jump out there and take those chances.
Nice. What's the worst advice you've received?
Worst advice I ever received, man. Man, go ahead and drink that. No, I don't know. You're good. What's one more? Oh man.
I could totally imagine that probably at embassy.
An embassy, right?
I have clear pictures of you guys, this big 6'5", 6'6" players, bro. Like I'm like, don't they just have a game? Don't they had a game? They
Young.
have a game tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. One more song. No, one more song.
All right.
Worst. Yeah, I guess I'll stick.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think everyone could totally relate to that.
Yeah,
I would
that's
definitely because I'm. The funny part is, I'm probably one of those guys who told you that. Like,
I know, right? wait.
Hey, come on, man, you're here. Man, you're 6'5". What the fuck are you talking about? It's not gonna hit you the same way. All right. What's something good or what's the best thing that you've done for yourself this past year?
Man, best thing I've done for myself this past year. Probably trying to just get outside of my comfort zone. I've tackled. I got into some different spaces in terms of I've always been into like crypto and stuff like that, but like NFT, but more than just being in it, being more active, kind of really just grow, man, to do more outside of the game of basketball. And on top of that, just opening up, making more opportunities and conversations with the kids, with Lay. I think nobody's wants this situation to go on any further than it has, but it has put me and put us in spots to really have some real growth in terms of conversations and things like that.
Yeah. Last question would be because the show is called RUNONG, so it's from karunungan, which is wisdom.
Mm.
I think you're pretty good in Tagalog already, right?
Oh
Right?
man,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
thinking
you're
about
pretty good, right? I mean, you understand everything, right?
for the most part.
For the most part, for the most part. Okay. So anyway, runong is from karunungan, so from wisdom. So that being said, what's anong karunungan ang pwede mong i-share sa amin or iiwan sa amin?
It's words of wisdom.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is iron sharpens iron. I mentioned it earlier. It's kind of hard to fall off track when you trust the circle you're with, you
Yeah.
trust the people you're around, and they can hold you accountable at the same time. I think for me, I found that through sports and through teammates, through my wife and through my kids. But that could be your guard downstairs in
Yeah.
your condo. That could be the ball boy on your team. That could be anybody, and you could also be that for anybody else as well.
Nice.
You know, not a self-serving thing. I think you can be sharpened by others, or you can be out there sharpening people as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice, man.
Yeah,
Gabe, I want to thank you, bro, for making time. This
no
is
problem.
to those that don't know, we were supposed to shoot this a while back, but me being me, I had my technical difficulties. So thank you for making time again. I appreciate the openness, the candidness. It was fun, man,
Yeah,
having this
always.
chat. Maybe we'll have a part two with your wife. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that would definitely be fun.
You want to promote anything? You're with the NBA, right? You got some stuff
Yeah,
going on with the NBA.
yeah. So I'm currently writing for NBA.com Philippines. Have a few articles up on the site as of now, along with some video content that we put out. I'm also a co-founder, and my brother is the founder of an upcoming NFT project
Oh,
called The
nice.
Whitelist at thewhitelist.io on Twitter and on Instagram if you want to check it out. We'll be minting at the end of the month. Aside from that, Norwood Aloha Eats, if you're into need some Hawaiian cuisine,
Yeah.
inspired cuisine, that's on Grab and Food Panda. So definitely appreciate any support.
Busy man.
Trying, man, trying.
Setting up your retirement, I see. Pretty much.
Buy some art. Come on now.
All right, man. Thanks so much, bro.